Hello everyone and welcome back to the second episode of On the Canvas Boxing Podcast. I'm James here with my co-presenter Charlie.
Hello, hello.
How are we on this pleasant day, mate?
Yeah, not too bad.
We had a pretty decent week, haven't we, to do boxing?
Yeah, been busy week.
Busy week. We had a quality fight last weekend, didn't we? An older Usyk Bradis. I really enjoyed that fight.
Yeah, quite close. I know some people thought, including yourself, you thought the decision could have gone the other way.
Yeah, originally when I watched it on the night, I was watching it, and initially I did think Usyk had won it, but then the day after, obviously the hype had all grown down. I'd had more time to assess it, and then looking at the rounds and potentially some of the cleaner shots for the fight, I could have certainly seen the result going to Bradis. He certainly was in some of the rounds, landing the cleaner shots, and in most of the first rounds, I had Bradis ahead. I'm just going to get my fight score card up, which I definitely, anyone who listens to this podcast and you obviously enjoy boxing, I'd really recommend to download the fight card app, so then you can score fights yourself, and it's sort of like a social network for doing fight scores. But yeah, I had the fight scored 115-113 Bradis. But then if I did look at some of the rounds again, they could have potentially gone the other way to Usyk. So it was a really close one. And then of course this weekend we've got the other semi final, which is Gassiev Dorticos. What do you think of that, charge? Do you know much about Gassiev and Dorticos, or are you a bit unfamiliar with those two names?
Yeah, I'm a bit unfamiliar with them.
Yeah. I'm myself again. I'm not too familiar with them. I'm still learning the cruiserweight divisions. At the moment, I'm not knowing too much. The only things I do know is that Gassiev, I think it's Gassiev. He's the IBF champion, and in fact, these two had fought before, and Gassiev won. But Dorticos has been reinstated as the WBA super champion for this fight. So it's now official that this tournament will be the first tournament in a long time to produce a fully undisputed champion. Unlike the Super 6 what Frotcher and Ward was in, because that was only obviously made a WBA, WBC champion. So yeah, it's certainly an exciting time for us. But talking of the cruiserweights anyway, we've got a very, very big fight night tomorrow, which I'm in fact going to. Okolie Chamberlain. What are you thinking about that, mate?
Yeah, I mean, it's been brewing for a little while. It's all come to a bit of a head, so it's going to be a good fight, I hope. Pretty interesting, two unbeaten fighters, in young stage of their career to be meeting. So, someone's always got to go. So
Indeed. We were like we were speaking about it last week. It's a bit like we were saying. It's like a lot of people have been saying. It's a bit like the likes of Groves de Gale, isn't it? Early on fight, headlining an arena. It's certainly a big step. And
yeah, he's a big step, obviously, and Matchroom obviously put on usually a big youth undercard, so it's quite a stacked undercard for the young talent again. So yeah, it's a step up for him, because obviously neither of them would have headlined before in a proper show like this. So yeah.
Who do you see the winner being?
I think it's going to be a close fight, obviously, I think. But if I was to make a prediction, I'd say probably Chamberlain late stoppage, because I think if Okolie can't get him out early, he may become a little bit unstuck. Yeah. And I think maybe Chamberlain, I think his slicker boxing might come through and just be able to land the cleaner shots and force the action a bit later on in the fight.
Yeah.
But there was some interesting comments by David Hay. Did you hear what he said about Lawrence Okolie?
I haven't seen, no. Tell me.
He said that Okolie had sparred with Joe Joyce, and he was very impressed with Okolie, and said that he had a rock chin.
Oh.
So
that'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, so David Hay, he claimed that he's fancying Okolie. I'm sure a lot of people will probably fancy Okolie, because he's probably the more heard of out of the two. And he has got the... he's more known as the flash knockout inside one round kind of fighter. Yeah. Whereas Chamberlain, although he has got a lot of knockouts and knockout power himself, he's a bit more methodical, a bit more of a boxer, whereas Okolie maybe more of a top fighter,
Yeah, I'd certainly agree with you. And as well, like we saw in in Chamberlain's last fight, he dislocated his shoulder, and it certainly shows he's got the heart, because obviously he went on and won that fight. And obviously with a dislocated shoulder, which must have been fairly painful, the geezer's a warrior to come through that. So there's no question, well, especially after what you've just told me with the Okolie having his rock chin, I'm sure they're both going to have the heart and the chin to sort of go through it, although I'm not really seeing Chamberlain's chin tested yet, so it'll be interesting to see how it goes. But to say I'm excited for the fight tomorrow night is an understatement for sure.
Yeah, it's been heavily built up, hasn't it? And like, I think it's one of them, the day before, that's when people start feeling the excitement.
Yeah.
Because this is quite a relatively big fight, because this is two future stars that of maybe British boxing.
Possibly two future world champions.
Yeah, exactly. Well, depending on what kind of route one of the losers or winners takes after tomorrow night. I mean, it's a pivotal clash. Exactly. It really does set the landscape as well, but 10 rounds, not 12, which is quite interesting, I think. Yeah, the main event.
So the WBA international title, or the continental, one of the two.
Yeah.
So it starts getting them we'll start to get them a decent ranking in obviously the WBA. So it's going to help build one of them. Like we were saying with the not the Eubank Groves, the Groves, the Gale thing. It's not. It's thankfully because they're early on in their career. They're not going to be like out of it. They can still rebuild. Like the Gale become the world champion before Groves.
Yeah, exactly.
So it certainly shows like that if they were to lose, it ain't over. It's the same with Saunders, Eubank Jr. They both fought fairly early on, and Saunders obviously went on to win the world title when he beat him. But Eubank's obviously arguably going into a much bigger fight than Saunders has ever had by fighting Groves.
Yeah, no, I'd agree.
So it certainly shows that if whichever one of them gets the L, their career certainly isn't over, and they can certainly rebuild well and potentially come back bigger.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But you're quite a bigger fan of one of the undercard fighters, aren't you? You're a big fan of Reece Bellotti. Yeah,
Reece Bellotti's a good fighter. He sparred with James DeGale a couple of times. I've heard that he hurt James DeGale in sparring. I mean, if you think about the weight discrepancy, this Bellotti obviously punches quite hard. He's got a few finishes on his record. They fancy him to beat Frampton.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That could certainly be interesting if he could overcome the likes of Frampton. Wow. He's a very quality fighter, Frampton. It'll be interesting to see how he fares against Donaire in April.
Yeah, it'll be a very interesting fight. Donaire is a former pound-for-pound king himself, but obviously, Bellotti is he needs a bit more time to mature to get to Frampton's level, but definitely one for the future, Reece Bellotti.
Oh,
from what I've heard, anyway.
Yeah, like you was telling me about it. I didn't know too much about Reece Bellotti until you started telling me about him before his clash at York Hall at the back end of last year. And obviously after that I started to look into Bellotti, and I obviously watched that fight, and he was certainly a cracking fighter, and that was a great knockout in that fight as well.
Yeah.
And also going on from this, we've got Ted Cheeseman, who's the chief support to Okolie Chamberlain tomorrow.
Yeah, he's starting to build up a bit of a profile himself, becoming like repetitive on these undercards, and he's quite a solid. Not the knockout power, but a very smart, silky boxer. He's appearing.
Yeah.
He's being pushed now a bit more by Eddie. Getting the media coverage, becoming a bit more of a big name.
Yeah, he's certainly it shows that he has got a bit of power on his card, because he has got 8 knockouts. But this certainly is going to be a big test, because Carson Jones has I think about 40 wins to his record, so he's certainly a very experienced fighter, and it's a step up for Cheeseman, because he's obviously the current English champion, and he's moving up to fight for the WBA international title against Carson Jones. So if Cheeseman certainly were to win this, again, it's like the Okolie Chamberlains. This is certainly going to start to rank him well in the WBA, and he could certainly start looking for the likes of the Commonwealth title, the British title, Europeans eventually, and start making a name in that 154-pound division.
Yeah.
And it's certainly got some good British fights in there now, especially with Brook moving up there. You've got Liam Smith there, Liam Williams. So if Cheeseman can certainly build himself up in that division, he's got some great fights and paydays to look forward to with them fighters.
Yeah, definitely down the line. Obviously, going back to what you said about Carson Jones, Cheeseman's at that point in his career where he kind of fended himself. He's proved himself in the kind of age bracket that he's in. So now he needs to test it, like the veterans and all that. Take their badges and stripes off them, and put them on his own shoulder. But as you were saying, I mean that's quite 154, quite a competitive division all of a sudden, which looked a bit dead, to be honest,
I
about
agree, yeah.
half a year. So it's quite good that's getting quite exciting, especially in Britain as well, because Kell Brook's always been a big name, and Liam Smith and Liam Williams.
That
I
was
think
a great double fight, wasn't it, between
yeah.
them two?
Well, I was just going to say, I mean that was good for both their careers because like that big rivalry put their name out there. Obviously, I'm sure Liam Williams would disagree, but
yeah. Well, it certainly was a two good fights. Although the second fight I wasn't too impressed with compared to the first one, but the first one that certainly was a war. I didn't enjoy
that was
one.
that was a very good fight.
But yeah, well, on to another bit of news which has just come out obviously this week in the world of boxing. Ohara Davies has moved to Frank Warren. Certainly a good move in my opinion for Ohara, and it was one that I sort of had at the back of my mind during this whole saga that Ohara Davies has had, and I'm very excited. What are you thinking of the move, Char?
Yeah, I was actually a little bit surprised. I saw a few people saying he might go to Haymaker under David, but yeah, listen, I think Ohara Davies, he's a solid fighter, but I think he's a few levels away, as shown with the Josh Taylor fight. Although that was a very for the time that he lasted, it was a very good fight. Very exciting, but he was. I do feel actually a little bit sorry for him because he was told to be a little bit of a quirky character by Eddie, and I remember him saying that he needs to, put himself out there a little bit more, and he was trash talking the fight, and obviously what he said was obviously quite a bad statement, especially to offend the people of Liverpool and all that.
Exactly.
I don't think there was any malicious intent by it.
It wasn't. It was meant to be directed about Tommy Coyle's trainer or something.
A lot of people like Billy Joe Saunders, do you hear what he said about?
No.
He defended him. He said he didn't believe that he knew what he was doing. So I think a lot of people in the industry, they're not really, I don't think they believe the maliciousness. Obviously, Frank Warren doesn't. I don't think he'd take on someone with bad PR if he didn't believe. And Frank Warren is obviously the second best promoter in the UK.
He's certainly coming up now, isn't he?
Oh well, he's definitely reviving his career. I mean, in 3-4 years' time, we could be talking about him.
I reckon he will be the best promoter in a few years' time.
Well, it's
Possibly.
all about. Well, he's got one of the biggest draws, isn't he, in Tyson Fury? That's massive for him.
He's got
with
Frampton.
that weird Hennessy deal. Yeah, Frampton obviously got that massive Northern Irish support. So when they got a nation behind them, that makes it a lot easier for him. Yeah,
Josh Warrington, he's got Holder Leeds behind him.
Yeah, and obviously that massive fight with Lee Selby. He's got the kind of the supporters with the diehard fans, but also with the young talent of Dubois and Dolani Teti, Anthony Yard.
Certainly. And he even got the likes of Turbo Terry Flanagan.
Yeah, obviously he's unbeaten himself, isn't he? And he flies under the radar when people talk about British world champions. I think a lot of people forget about him. And obviously, as we said last week about him stepping up and going for the vacant WBO title in the weight class above.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking if you look at O'Hara's a super lightweight, so I think it's a very smart move from Warren, because if you look at it, O'Hara's got a lot of Frank Warren's got a lot of fighters at that weight who he could match Ohara up with that are good domestic clashes, and I believe will end up leading Ohara to fight Flanagan, which in terms of Flanagan's career would be excellent for him, because of the name that Ohara's got and the media attention that he attracts. So a fight with Ohara down the line could certainly be what Terry Flanagan needs to get a real big name for himself.
Yeah, I mean, that would definitely be the big strike, because I think that's kind of the thing with Terry Flanagan, although I think people in the trade, and if you're a follower of boxing, then you'll know how good Terry Flanagan is and, his skills and all that. But, he hasn't got that big name under him yet, which is... until people get big names under, people aren't going to take people seriously, and that's just the bottom line of it, isn't it?
Yeah. But certainly, I think once Flanagan does get his WBO super lightweight title, I'm hoping that he can get some big fights in that super lightweight division, because there's still some really great ones to be made there. Even though obviously Crawford's now gone up, you've still got, well, I don't know about Ndongo now. I don't know if he'll still be about, but a big clash for him. I know he's coming off of 2 losses, but you still got Ricky Burns at super lightweight. Like, you can't count him out after that Anthony Crolla loss. I don't care what anyone says. He's still a quality world level fighter.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, people aren't really sure about where Ricky Burns would turn next. A lot of people thought he might retire, although there hasn't been any official word on it yet, has there?
I'm a bit of a Ricky Burns fan as well. I did enjoy it, especially with seeing him become the freeweight world champion back in 2016. That was obviously a great moment for all UK boxing fans. It was great to see someone triumph like that on that brilliant weekend. Because obviously they had Bellew beating Makabu as well. That was a great weekend for boxing. But
Yes.
I'll certainly hope, maybe, obviously, if Ricky Burns can rebuild himself in that division, I reckon he could certainly set up a fight with Flanagan. That would be a fairly big fight if Eddie Hearn and Warren can work together, or Burns and Warren to work together, because obviously they had a bit of problems a few years ago after Burns left Warren, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that would be interesting if what Burns' position would be on that, because obviously there was a bit of a dispute, wasn't there?
Mm.
I think it was to do with finances and all that, about unfair deals and all that.
But I'm hoping something like that. I'm hoping a fight like that could be made, because it'd be just great for both of the fighters, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And
sometimes.
you first.
Yeah, I was just going to say, sometimes, you just kind of wish that there is some excess baggage that comes with the promoters, especially with some people like Bob Arum and all that.
Yeah.
They kind of get in the way and all that, don't they? So, kind of just hope that the fighters can just do it themselves and,
Yes, sort it out in the ring. 'Cause obviously, at the end of the day, all we want to see as fight fans is the fights to be made. We don't want all
yeah,
the bickering behind the scenes. We want to see fights, and
yeah,
we want to
exactly,
have action.
100%.
And certainly as well in that division one, I was just thinking of, like we were saying before, Josh Taylor. I reckon in a few fights' time after his fight on March the 3rd and possibly a summer fight clash, I reckon autumn time. Well, if he has 3 fights this year, I definitely think he could certainly soon be going onto the world level. He's
Oh, well,
certainly a talent of that level, isn't he?
he does look the real deal under, with Barry McGuigan and the Cyclone Promotions and all that, trained by Shane. I think he's fighting someone called Soto, isn't he?
That's it, Soto on March the 3rd.
Yeah, so I think for me, Josh Taylor is probably one of the most exciting prospects in British boxing. I think he looks the real deal.
I definitely agree with you. On that. Certainly, like we were saying about Ohara, the winner out of that fight beforehand was certainly going to go on to do big things. And Josh Taylor, like you were saying, he pretty much outclassed, and the conclusive finish that he produced in that fight has certainly
Yeah,
catapulted him even further in his career.
yeah, it was a good fight though, because O'Hara came to scratch, and there was he did land some big shots actually. There was the big shots in both ways, but
Yeah. It's a pity, but I'm just glad that I've been always a fan of O'Hara, and I'm just glad that he's going to be coming back. Because obviously he hasn't fought since he fought Tom Farrell in Liverpool back in September. So I'm just glad that he's going to be coming back on April the 14th. He can start showing again what a talent that he is, and hopefully soon, hopefully down the line, maybe we'll see a Taylor rematch, and hopefully down the line we'll see O'Hara get a world title shot.
yeah,
But yeah, on to our next thing. We did talk about him earlier on in the podcast. Tyson Fury.
yeah,
Fury. Poor guy has been stripped of his Ring Magazine title following him not being able to make his fight announcement by the deadline given to him by the Ring Magazine for the 31st of January. It's a pity for Tyson, because I'm a really big fan of him. But obviously the Ring Magazine, they can't be waiting about for so long, because obviously they're basically like a sanctioning body. They've got their title and they need to make money from having title fights, don't they?
yeah. Well, exactly. Yeah. I mean, they've stuck by him for a long time, which is quite surprising. He's often spoke about it, like how he considers it to be the only true world title and all that on his
Yeah.
Instagram, Twitter, and all that. But I think that was probably the right decision. But obviously it has been quite a productive week, obviously for Tyson Fury fans. Obviously we've probably come the closest news of him having a comeback fight since the whole time suspension this week, which is exciting news. Talk about sending the papers over to Shannon Briggs.
Yeah.
I think if you're a Tyson Fury fan, despite the title stripping, it has been a good week for you.
Well, certainly, and especially a fight like Briggs. I think the build up to that will just be excellent because they're both very, very charismatic fighters.
Yeah, I think it would. I think it would go down well. And he also called out Antonio Tarver, didn't he? Yeah, he sent contracts to him as well for his comeback fight. But what is important to remember is Fury's only 29.
I know.
Feels like he's a lot older because he's been for ages.
I know, and he looks older as well, doesn't he?
He does look older, but 29. I think that's only a year older than Joshua, isn't it?
I think Joshua's 27.
Oh, is he? 2
I'll have a quick look, but yeah, they're both very young fighters. Like Fury won the world title, he was 27 when he won it, so he's still got plenty of quality years left in the tank if he can get back to it. Yeah, 28, so he's only a year older than Joshua.
Yeah, so important to remember. I mean, he has got. If he could resurrect his career and lose all that weight, then it would be. He's got plenty of time to go on and solidify himself in that division, which is exciting for the future because we're looking at. There's a lot of young guns like Joshua. He's only not even. He's 28, as we just said, not even 30. We've got Fury, who's not even 30. Yeah, it's quite an exciting division, the heavyweight segment.
We've got a few big ones coming up, haven't we?
Yeah, exactly. If that fight can be made, though, with Fury, Shannon Briggs, it's an interesting test for his first fight back. I thought he might take like a walkover or something, just get himself in the ring and, feel what it's like to just start throwing the jab again and all that, and loosen up and all that. But, Shannon Briggs, he's obviously, Tyson will be a massive favourite coming into it. Shannon Briggs is quite old himself, but...
Well, Briggs would have been out of the ring for almost 2 years by the time they would have had that fight anyway, because the last time Briggs fought was when I went and watched him on the undercard of Hay against GGG.
Yeah,
when he beat that Emilio Zarate in the first round.
He wanted to fight David Hay after that, didn't he?
That was it. He come and confronted him ringside. That was brilliant.
Yeah, I think he's been looking for a big money fight. I think, and if he finds a Tyson Fury man, then fair play. He's got that money fight, but he's been around for a while. He's got a decent record, to be fair, Shannon Briggs. But
yeah, he's beaten a few good people. He's beaten George Foreman.
Yeah,
that shows how old he is.
I think George Foreman would have been way past it at that time.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, but I think that's a good fight for the public as well.
It's a good fight for both of them, really.
Everyone would love the press conferences and all that, and it'd be good to see Tyson back in the ring.
Very much so. I'm certainly looking forward to it. But with the Ring magazine as well, I was looking into it. They're not going to be sanctioning it for the Joshua Parker fight. They want to sanction it for Wilder to fight the winner of Joshua Parker.
Yeah, as I suspected, because I think when you take Fury aside, obviously they're not going to sanction it for his fight, are they, straight after stripping it of him? But yeah, obviously I think Parker, he's obviously got the world title, but I think Joshua and Wilder that's the big two really in the heavyweight division, aside from Fury, that we're looking at to see who's the best at the moment. Parker's a solid fighter. I think it'd be Joshua's toughest challenge along with Klitschko, but I think if we're looking at Joshua Wilder, that's more of a 50-50 fight, if you will. That's a lot closer, a lot more competitive, and that's where the true top two in the heavyweight division at the moment are.
I'd certainly agree. I think, to be fair though, regarding this Joshua Wilder fight, I don't think that nor the Fury fight will happen until 2019, in my opinion.
No, I do agree, because I think circumstances getting in the way and all that. I think it would make more sense. I mean, the Wilder fight could maybe happen at the end of the year, but I mean, the problem is he's whether he wants to keep the IBF belt, as we spoke last week, and the mandatories and all that.
Yeah.
Povetkin, who's on the undercard. Povetkin Price is also on the undercard of Joshua Park, and that was announced today.
That was it, yeah. I'm very excited about that.
Yeah,
I'm worried for David Price. I'm not gonna lie. I'm worried for
I,
him.
I'm always worried for David Price.
Like, we were saying after we went on off air last week, we was having a chat about this, and I was saying if you look at Price's last fight when he fought on that MTK card at Brentwood, he looked worried to get hit. In my opinion, he looked very tucked up defensively and worried to go in throwing big shots because he could get clipped. So he's gonna have to be very careful against Povetkin because of how big of a puncher he is.
Yeah, Povetkin is a big puncher. I think that's a good stepping stone for Povetkin. I can't see Price winning that fight
Mm.
because obviously Price got beat by Christian Hammer and Povetkin has just beaten Christian Hammer in the last couple of months.
Yeah,
Yeah, so go back to the Joshua thing. That fight aligns. You know, that fight in the summer maybe
that
or
fight in the
late
summer. Yeah, I'm
early
definitely
autumn.
thinking that fight will happen in the summer. I think because I think from what I was listening, I've listened to a few of the Eddie Hearn interviews on IFL, and I'm definitely thinking that Joshua will have 3 fights this year. So my opinion, what it'll be is obviously Parker at the start of this year, like we've got in March, Povetkin in the summer, and then I've got a really really weird inkling, yeah, that if Hay beats Bellew, yeah. Hay said this is going to be his last year in the sport. So Hay beats Bellew. What big of a way to finish his career, and a big way to finish the year, and a big money fight for Joshua than Hay Joshua.
Yeah, no, I completely agree because that fight has to be made this year, and I think everyone would want to cash in on that fight because that's the second biggest fight out there apart from the Fury fight right now. It's just a massive all British clash, isn't it? David Hay got a massive name, will bring a big following into the fight. You know, if he can get past Bellew, which is no easy task, obviously, then I think that would be the fight to cash in on.
Most definitely. I'll definitely. That's what I'm laying my money on to happen. I'd love to see that happen because I think both of us we're big David Hay fans. We supported him obviously when he became the unified cruiserweight champion when he beat John Mark Mormack, the Enzo Macronelli fights, the Valuev, and
Yeah,
obviously Ruiz that beating of Harrison, and then obviously the toe that lost to Klitschko, and then British
yeah,
beef with Chisora. So we've certainly supported Hay for a long time, but to see Hay against Joshua and potentially, I don't know if I could see Hay winning that fight. I'd love to be able to see him win that, but it would certainly be a huge fight for sure, and it'd be unpredictable because obviously we've seen that Joshua's chin's possibly weak, and we know how hard David Hay can hit. So
yeah.
that's the danger of the fight, and that's what would capture the imagination of the public. What if Hay could land a haymaker on Joshua? What would happen? That's the excitement of it, and that would be what would build that fight so amazingly.
I think that's yeah. I think a lot of it depends on how well he does against Tony Bellew,
Oh,
obviously,
of
because
course,
yeah, I think
everything's riding on that.
yeah, exactly. If he wins or loses, obviously, I mean, if he loses, his career is
He's finished.
pretty much over, and it's seemingly. But there was some interesting speculation about that Johnny Nelson said that Hay would come in lighter, weighing quite light, so shed off that
Yeah,
massive body mass and try and outbox instead of looking for the knockout,
sort of what he
which
did with Adam Booth back in the day.
yeah, which could be smart, not just against Bellew, but if we're looking further ahead to the Joshua fight, you know, if we could go, I mean, I think he's got the cruiserweight ability, so he's going to be speedier, lighter on his feet. I think he'll probably be able to outbox Anthony Joshua, but it would just be the other factors that would, because you'd have to say, in terms of boxing ability, he's up there in the heavyweight division. It's just everything else in the baggage that gets in the way with David Hay.
Mm. Yeah, like the big toe and
The
obviously the
injuries,
injuries. That's the worst thing.
yeah,
We just
that's
don't
the
want to
thing.
break down like last time.
No, I mean that'd be even more devastating than him losing, wouldn't it? Yeah, having his career ruined by injuries because yeah, I thought he was winning the Bellew fight. Yeah, we could already be over this mountain, but yeah, we're going through it again.
Yeah, but I'm very much hoping so that Hay will overcome Bellew. I'm pretty sure, especially now he's with Ishmael Salas, and Ishmael Salas, what a quality trainer he is. Like obviously,
Yeah,
trained 17 world champions, trainer of likes of Linares. He's certainly a talented trainer, and obviously training the new guy on the block, Joe Joyce.
yeah, I much prefer this new training system David Hayes got. The Shane McGuigan one, it doesn't seem right. Yeah, he was much older than his trainer. It felt like David Haye has more fighting experience than his trainer, and McGuigan would struggle to have discipline on him, and Haye was conducting his own camps. Obviously, Haye is still doing that American thing, but it looks like Ismail Salas, he's obviously a veteran of the game. He looks like he's firmly in control of David Haye, which is a real positive thing for me. I think he's going to be much more focused. I think he's going to come in a better way. I think he's going to put on more of a boxing show than look for that early knockout that he promised last time. Be more cautious, look for the jab and all that, and just in and out, springy on his feet.
He'll show his talent. He'll show his talent that we all know that he has. I'm hoping.
Yeah, I hope so as well. Without any.
As long as he doesn't go in slugging like he did against Bellew, because I think that Bellew knew that he would do that, and he was just waiting for Haye to obviously get worn out and then and his body to break down. So I think Haye definitely will learn from his mistakes of the original fight, and hopefully rectify it coming the next one.
Yeah, I mean, their gameplay definitely worked. They were looking for him. He did come out, he swung a lot and looked very reckless, which is very unlike David Haye, because he's quite... I'm thinking of that Ruiz knockdown, the precision of that...
Oh, that first knockdown, that right hand.
The following up of the jab. And I think that's a really precise boxer. But when you look at the David Haye versus Bellew fight, it was a lot more swings, very characteristic. I think he was expecting to, once he hit him, he'd knock him out. But obviously... Yeah, people have many opinions about Bellew, but I think pound for pound, if we talk about chin and heart, he's definitely up there.
Oh, for heart, he's certainly there.
I mean, he got hit with massive shots. Even he himself said after the fight, I couldn't take many more of them. So he done very well to take a lot of them big punches. And, he weathered the storm, and, Haye's shelter broke first. And, Bellew did what he had to do. Circumstances arose. You can't blame Tony Bellew for, he had to beat what was in front of him.
Oh, yeah. He's certainly going to go for it, and obviously he did. Hats off to Bellew for doing it. Not many people thought he would do it, but it's just made the rematch huge. Yeah,
I think it was. I think that was for a good thing. That fight happening the way it did, because I think, if Haye could come back from that, I think that's good. But also, double the payday for both of them.
Oh yeah. And they're going to both make, I'm sure, they're going to make a lot of money, and I think there's going to be just as many viewers as the first fight, because it will capture the imagination of the public again. Can Bellew do it again, or will Haye come back and prove that he is one of the best in the heavyweight division?
Yeah, that's the thing, because it's just an unanswered question, isn't it, because of the injury. It's, we know how the fight was going after 5 rounds, but that's only half the fight. We don't know what would have happened in there. The fights going forward and all that, would we? So
exactly.
It's a very much unanswered question, and that's why people are going to be interested again, and maybe more people, because we're getting double the press of this.
Oh yes.
Okay. So.
Oh yes. But yeah, talking people in we talk about Salas and that, and Linares. Some possible big news for Linares that could hopefully come in the coming months. Him possibly fighting Vasyl Lomachenko.
Because he successfully defended his world title last weekend.
That's it, against Gestu, I think his name was.
Yeah, and him and Lomachenko have been going backwards and forwards on Twitter. Yeah, Lomachenko is obviously probably, in my opinion, the pound for pound best fighter in the world.
Mm-hmm.
He's been calling out Linares, which is very interesting, because Linares would, in my opinion, be the most difficult challenge of his career, because it would be like Rigondeaux stepping up 2 weight classes. Lomachenko would be going up 1.
Yep.
They're pretty similar in stature, but Linares has fought with the bigger guys, and Linares himself is a pound for pound top fighter.
He was certainly great.
He's come over to the UK, and I'm thinking of that second opening Crawler fight. He looks really, really good.
He was mad in that fight.
Very, very silky. It was obviously Crawler is also Frank the former that fight.
Yeah.
I think returns onwards. So he's got world level stripes under his name. Obviously the Luke Campbell fight, he was in control of that, but I don't know what happened. He can't let that slip in the second half of that fight. There was a
possibilities that Campbell was coming back into it.
Yeah, and he only scraped through on split decision, didn't he? I still think that was
I still think Linares won it.
Yeah, I think Linares did win, but I think his concentration may have lapsed. He thought the fight was already over, and Campbell was rejuvenised and took a couple of the late rounds. But I mean, this would be one of the biggest fights in boxing in terms of ability for me. We're looking at Salas training like Linares and that silky kind of ability, and obviously Lomachenko's movement. It
Yeah,
would,
and obviously his
would be a
amateur
really
pedigree.
fight. Yeah, it would be an excellent fight.
Yeah, although I do think before this fight, I believe that Linares will fight Mikey Garcia for the WBC lightweight title before this fight happens because it's been ordered by the WBC.
That is interesting. I mean, that would be a very, very big fight in itself, wouldn't it? Because Mikey
Yeah.
Garcia's been, he's kind of been the new kid on the block. He broke through on the scene the last 18 months and has probably been one of the most hotly talked about boxers, and he beat Adrian Broner, didn't he, last
Oh
year?
yeah.
Broner, who obviously had a lot of potential and kind of fell down in his career, but yeah, that was a very, very good win for Mikey Garcia. He got that big knockout, didn't he?
Oh, his first one, that was huge. That first back.
It was on a big undercard. I'm trying to, was it on DeGale Badujak? Was
It
it?
might have been, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was when I think he first caught the name of the British crowd. I mean, he himself looks a very, very good fighter. So it could be a massive year for Linares. If he could get through Mikey Garcia, he'll be going into that Lomachenko fight with huge confidence. And
Oh
that could,
yeah.
I mean, I think that would really, that would just turn into a snowball, wouldn't it? It would just roll in the effect of it.
Oh yeah. That would make that fight huge, mate.
It would be a huge fight. It would be one of them top pound for pound fights. And yeah, I think that would be Lomachenko's biggest challenge, in my opinion.
I'll definitely second you on that. Like obviously Lomachenko, he's fought some decent people. Who is it? He's fought. Oh, for God's sake, who did he win his world title off? His first world title.
Gary Russell.
Gary Russell. That's it. And Gary Russell's a decent fighter as well.
Yeah.
But
Frankie
I don't think he's fought anyone as good as Linares yet. And obviously Regondo, but Regondo didn't look too amazing in that fight. Obviously getting pulled out in the what was it, the sixth round, was it?
Yeah, he quit, didn't he? Because his hand was hurting, but I don't think anyone really believed it. He was just getting outclassed. He didn't really look like he knew what to do with Lomachenko's movement. Like Lomachenko was just swinging side to side, literally just punching down on him, and I just remember him just crouching down, just getting hit. Yeah, he wasn't throwing anything back, and he wasn't getting hurt, but he was just losing every round, clearly. It was just, he quit, didn't he, on his stall because he just didn't want to carry on.
Exactly. And yeah, so mate, I'm buzzing for that sort of fight to happen. But yeah, talking big name fights to be announced. GGG Canelo 2.
Yeah, so that's probably the biggest fight in boxing right now. I mean, the first fight was a really, really good fight, completely ruined by that ridiculous scorecards. And, I mean, it was blatant corruption, in my opinion. Just to force a rematch, so Golden Boy Promotions could double their amount of money coming in.
I couldn't believe that, mate. When I was watching it, I got up in the middle of the night like yourself for it. You stayed up all night for it. I'd got up in the middle of the night, and just to see to get the scorecard read out, 118, 110. What?
Yeah.
How can you score 118, 110 to flipping Canelo? What was it? I gave the first, 2 rounds to Canelo, yeah? And then I gave a few of the last ones. I gave 5 rounds in total to Canelo, 7 rounds to Golovkin. So my scorecard was
115,
113.
Which is one of the judges' scorecards, wasn't it?
Yeah.
115, 113. It was just such a wide discrepancy. I mean, she has a really awful track record. She's done controversial decisions for UFC judging as well. She's not actually officially meant to be a judge. She's married to someone who's a referee or something like that that's got her the job. She's been involved in these scandals before, and she still got put on with this massive fight. It's absolutely scandalous by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, and I just don't understand why there's no inquiry panel into these kind of decisions and no overturning of results, because it was, I can't, I mean, even the draw, the 114, I think that's a push as well. That's a real push to see how Canelo drew the fight. I had 8-4 or 7-5 as yourself. Yeah, it was a close fight. Canelo done really well at times and landed probably the better combinations out of the two.
Landed some big shots as well.
And the overall round, Golovkin clearly won the fight, in my opinion.
I'd agree.
And they've robbed his perfect record, and I would be scared as well of a repeat of that kind of thing. I can only hope that Golovkin can knock him out.
If Golovkin knocks him out, that's a big statement.
But just for justice of boxing, because it really was disgusting what happened the last time, and I think that's a lot of the reason why people are fed up with boxing nowadays. It's just the same crap every time.
The same sort of corruption, mate. It's ridiculous. Like, especially talking corruption and that. People forgot about this because I was saying, what was the? I think it might have been Bunce's 2017 in review, right? He was saying the biggest corruption of the year, but arguably even bigger one, right? Burnett versus Haskins, when Haskins, it was a split decision and one of them voted him 118-110 in favour of Haskins. And Burnett had him down, obviously, and that. Like, Burnett dominated that fight. No, if you thought Haskins was given that fight, yeah, you need to get your eyes checked. Because Burnett just overwalked him, but yeah, people forget that, but that's one that sticks in my head as, well, I don't know if it was corruption, mate, or if it was just a genuine mistake by the judge, but
I think it came out and it was a mistake, and he got the fighters the wrong way round, and I think his scorecard was the other way.
oh, good.
I,
But
I think
that
that
sticks
came
in my
out.
mind, that does.
Yeah, but I mean, but still, that's not the point, because if that was a close fight,
Oh,
then would we have actually known? We might not have actually known. I mean, it's incompetent. I mean, there's a real problem with judging in boxing, in my opinion, and I just don't understand. No one seemed to be bothered to clear it up. Quite very, very frustrating.
Need to start a revolution, mate.
Well,
One day, mate, one day. When the On the Canvas has thousands of followers, we'll have to get a petition or something.
yeah.
But yeah, you were saying obviously you're into a few different combat sports. You're big into MMA, aren't you?
Oh yeah, massively into UFC. Yeah.
And there's obviously the talk of this $1 billion deal for Floyd Mayweather going over to UFC. What are you saying about that?
It's very interesting because he made that video of him getting in the octagon, saying what's the odds of him getting in and all that. I mean, I think he would be. I mean, undoubtedly he would be destroyed in a minute or 2 minutes if he got in the ring with anyone. Yeah, there's so many levels. Obviously, his stand-up would be, very good, but the wrestling and the jiu-jitsu and the Muay Thai and all that, how he's going to respond to kicks and all that, you'd have never faced anything like it. I think it might just be a publicity stunt, but I'm not sure why it would be a publicity stunt, because I mean, unless he is spending all this money, as people had alleged before the McGregor fight, because I can't see any reason why he has to keep fighting.
Oh,
He's
no,
had, I
mate.
mean, the highest earning sportsman of all time. It just seems ridiculous that the only thing I can suggest is maybe he's still got this appetite. He can't let go of fighting, but he obviously may not rate his ability in boxing anymore. He might have lost his reflexes at 41 or 42, whatever he is now. He may not trust himself to get back in the ring and lose that perfect professional record that he has.
Yeah. Well, I certainly think though, like, what was it? You was chatting with someone who commented on one of our photos, and I'd certainly agree with what this guy said. He said, "I believe that a defeat would taint his legacy," and
No, absolutely.
I think it. Personally, obviously, I think it would, because Floyd's always been known as the unbeatable fighter, and someone who would never be beaten. So, in my opinion, if he went in the octagon, obviously, and lose, it taints his legacy.
Yeah, and also I think people would view it that way as well. That it could undermine the credibility of the sport, because obviously I know for a lot of people, like, we know that obviously a good rugby kicker probably isn't going to be able to kick a football like that well. But there's this kind of the separation in those sports, which we don't always see with boxing and MMA. They're kind of grouped in the combat sports kind of one. So not many people actually differentiate.
Mhm.
But if you look at obviously everyone knows obviously the abilities of boxing and MMA are completely different, and the stand-up in MMA is completely different to boxing. But obviously if you look at the combat sports kind of face of it, Mayweather has been the best of his generation, maybe the best ever in terms of ability in the
Mhm.
boxing ring. If he went into MMA and got absolutely dismantled in minutes, it would damage the credibility of the sport, because I think people would question, you know, how this guy can be perfect in boxing, and he got shown to be, he got embarrassed in the octagon,
Mhm.
then that would potentially raise questions about the legitimacy of boxing being, the main combat sport anymore. and that could shift a lot of people over to UFC, for example.
Yeah, I'd start having to rethink my sports, what I'm loyal to, because I've been a sort of fringe MMA fan. Obviously, watched the McGregor fights and Bisping, but yeah, I might have to start getting into it a bit more.
Yeah.
But that could possibly be why he's going to MMA, possibly a McGregor match, but in the octagon this time.
Well, that would be. I mean, it would. I think it's the only fight that could potentially outdo their first fight if they got in the octagon. I mean, that would be it would be ridiculous money. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious who would win.
Oh
Yeah,
yes.
as it was in the boxing ring, it was pretty obvious who would win. Um, yeah, they're just two different sports. It's very frustrating being a fan of boxing and MMA. I'm sure,
Mm.
especially for me because I like them both, and it's just like I don't want to see I don't want to see Conor McGregor fight Floyd Mayweather again. I've already seen that. I didn't like it the first
I
time.
know.
I didn't
We
like it
watched
this
it in a
time.
bar in Spain. Up all night for that, mate. And it
It's
was
very
just
disappointing.
ridiculous, mate, wasn't it?
Yeah, but not only that, it's just like I want to see Conor McGregor come back and fight the challengers. I want to see him fight Tony Ferguson or Khabib Nurmagomedov, and I want to see the Diaz trilogy fight. They're the three fights that I want to see. I don't want to see him fight Floyd Mayweather again because it's ridiculous. I don't want to see Johnny Wilkinson play a free kick challenge against Ronaldinho. I don't want to see it. I don't care.
Oh, mate. We might have to set that as the title for this podcast. Oh my gosh. Well, I'll certainly see where you're coming from with that,
Yeah.
mate. I certainly do see where you're coming from with that, mate. But yeah, I think to be honest now we've said most things. Is there anything we've missed out that's gone on this week in boxing?
Not that I am aware of. I think we have discussed
Oh,
everything for the week.
one thing quickly. Actually, that's one thing that made me just think of. We'll briefly talk about it before we finish off. Conor Ben, obviously, earlier in the week, 4 days ago, got announced that he could be fighting on the undercard of Khan Greco. Um, certainly, do you reckon it could be the rematch against that guy he fought in that 6 rounder?
I think that would be logical because I think there's question marks over that in my opinion. I didn't think that Conor Ben won that fight very convincingly. I know he got the knockdowns at the end, but for me, I thought the scorecards were quite lenient towards him, and I think that other guy, going in there and shouting at Conor Ben, I don't think Eddie Hearn or Conor Ben himself will like that. I think they're going to want the rematch and try and knock him out early, settle the score because there's going to be quite a lot of build to that fight, I reckon, because that first fight was, in terms of 6 rounders go, that is probably one of the best 6 rounders I've seen, to be honest.
I'll certainly agree with you on that.
Yeah, Connor's eyes got mashed up quite
Oh
bad. I remember
Jesus, yeah. The day
after
after, my gosh,
he
he was a
took quite a
state.
battering.
But yeah, he's on the undercard of Khan Greco, where we did see a nice little bit of water being thrown the other day.
Oh yeah, I was. He made comments about his wife, didn't he? There was all that
Yeah.
Anthony Josh
You want my
fiasco. I'm not really sure.
leftovers?
I really don't know what happened about if that was true or not. I mean, I kind of hope it was true because it was hilarious. But
Oh, it's class, mate.
yeah,
But yeah, we'll certainly talk about that more in the coming weeks. But I think we've covered everything, haven't we now, mate?
yeah, I do believe so.
Well, I think we have to round it off here with the boxing on the Canvas Boxing podcast. Thank you everyone for listening to this, and we'll be back next week. We'll review the Okolie Chamberlain fight. Obviously, we have to talk about Gassiev Dorticos as that's tomorrow night as well. And yeah, until next week, everyone. We'll see you then. Take care.
Bye.